Hello everyone. Recently this was a request from some friends of mine that they wanted me to do a 1940s, 1950s vintage style makeup look. I'm actually going to do 3 variations, so depending on your style as well, you can choose whether you want a bit more makeup, a little bit less makeup, and how you want to do it. The main elements that signify the 1940s/50s look is the winged eyeliner and a red lip. The products that I've used are my preference. You don't have to use the same products, of course not. You can use something different, and where I can I'll show you a couple of different variations on the products that I'm using. So let's get started. I will list all the products that I've used below. If you're doing your makeup for a particular event, like a party or a vintage day or anything like that, you want it to last. So first of all, to prep the skin or prime the skin, I would definitely use a primer. Now I've got 3 different primers here that I'm going to show you. This is the Avon Magic's Face Perfector. This is also SPF 20, which is quite a good thing to know if you're going to a vintage festival, for example. You're going to be outside all day. It's good to have an SPF in your base. Another one that I've used before is the No. 7 Stay Perfect Matte Primer. I've got is Smashbox Photo Finish, which is an oil-free one. This is actually a little sample. So I'm going to use the Avon Magic's. So I'm just going to put a blob of that on the back of my hand. Using my makeup sponge, I'm just going to take that and dab that on the areas where I get particularly oily. So for most people that will be the T-zone. Then we're going to apply foundation. I'm going to assume that you have your own foundations. If you don't, the best way to test a foundation colour to see if it's right for you is to test it along your cheek here and blend it in. If it blends into both your jawline and your neck, then you're good to go. This is my Avon Ideal Flawless Invisible Coverage Foundation. I've just put 1 pump on the back of my hand there. We're going to see how far that goes. Using the same sponge, I'm going to take that where I predominantly need the coverage. So again, this is usually going to be around the middle of your face. I'm going to make sure I go over my eyes. Always make sure that you blend your foundation down your neck. Next, I'm going to quickly put the first layer of primer onto my eye. Now what I'm going to use as a primer for this look is actually a matte paint pot, a MAC paint pot. This one's called Painterly. You can see it's a pretty nude colour. So I just take that on my wedding finger and I just blend that all over the lid right up to the brow. And I use that as a primer. The primer does hold the makeup on for longer. So if you want to put a bit more eyeshadow on, it's always good to have some kind of primer. This isn't a primer, this is actually a paint pot, as I mentioned, which is a colour, just a coloured cream eyeshadow, but it works seamlessly as a primer and it doesn't crease in your eye. Eyebrows is what I'm going to do next, and they're often forgotten. I think that they're really important. They frame the face. You can see my brows are slightly sparse in places. So, for ease right now, I'm going to use one of these pencils. I think I'll use the Origins Fill in the Blanks because I haven't used this in a while. Always apply the colour from the bottom. That way it's easier to just fill out and it will look more natural on the top and not so blocky. Because you want it to look natural. I mean, if your eyebrows are very dark, you probably can skip this step. I'm only doing it because they're quite sparse and I want them slightly more defined for this look. Because that will look a lot more 1940s. So, we're just going to use light feathery brushing motions and draw a line in the bottom here, and then follow the hairs. My hairs go up here, so flick that up like that, and then just brush a little bit through like that. Then this comes with the spoolie on the end, which is great. You can use that to blend the colour and shape where you want those hairs. Something else that you can do just to increase that definition, from 17 I have a concealer pen crayon, which is a must-have, I think. I love a concealer crayon. And all I'm going to do with that is just draw a line under the eye and that goes up into the under the eyebrow, sorry, that goes up into the arch. And then just blend out the edge of that slightly with your finger. And you can see that gives you quite a sharp, and I've got a blemish here, so it's good to do maybe a bit of that on the top. And again, just blend that with your finger very lightly. And you can see how that gives you a very sharp and defined brow. And you can also see the difference of how my face looks on this side. It instantly frames your face and it creates shape. Something important to remember about your eyebrows is that they are sisters, not twins, so they're never going to look identical. Now we're going to move on to the eyes. The palette that I'm going to use for this is my Smashbox eyeshadow trio, which includes the colours, right, let's see if I can get this right, Vanilla, Sable and Sumatra. I love this palette, it is one of my favourites. Ideally you just want a brown palette, or if you're going to do the first look that I'm about to do, which is the easiest and quickest, all you need is the light shade. So something like, this is Avon's Soft Vanilla. That's all you would need, is a single shade like that. Use what you've got at home, but a palette with some neutral browns in it. I like this because they're all matte, is best. Now I'm going to take a big oval fluffy brush into the vanilla colour there, and then I'm going to pat that all over the eyelid right up to the brow. And this is the first look that we're going for, the easiest. So you want to really probably put a few layers of this on because you want to make it really light. We're not going to add any other colour for this first look, so really get that nice and light on the eyelid and up into the brow. That's literally all the shadow that we're going to do for that, and then we would add a flick. For that I would use either something like the Scandaleyes Precision Micro Eyeliner, which is like a felt tip pen. Really easy for doing a quick makeup look with a flick. If you're a bit of a novice at it, I think that the felt tip pens or the eyeliner pens are really good. To use my Avon Mega Effects eyeliner, liquid eyeliner pen. This one has an angled nib, and it's just my preference. Okay, so the first mistake a lot of people make when applying liquid eyeliners like this is they pull their eye like this. Don't do that. You're going to distort, or don't do that yet. We do that in a minute. But if you do that initially, you're going to just distort the shape of your eye, particularly if you have slightly hooded eyes. The best way to avoid creasing all that up and also getting your liner in the right place is keep your eye natural and just look straight. Don't look down, don't look anywhere, just look straight, keep it natural. And you want to put in a marker. So I'm just turning my nib so it's the longer end is pointing away from me. In this instance, you don't necessarily have to do that. What you want to do, never follow your upper lid, because that goes down. As you can see, my upper lid is going down. You want to follow your bottom lid, which comes up. So if that were to carry on, you want to put in a marker right where that would carry on, like that. And you want your flick to be longer, I would mark that in with your eye like this, still relaxed, looking straight forward. Mark that in to the point where you want it. Like that. Now, when your eye's open, the flick is going to be in the right place. If you shut your eye, because look, you can see this is kind of funny shape actually, and it's not where you expect it to go when you've got your eyes shut. But if you have your eyes shut when you do it, when you open your eye, it's more often than likely, if you have your eyes shut, then the flick when you open will be down here somewhere and it'll be droopy again. You want it to lift, you want it to go up. So once you've put in that marker, now we can shut the eye. And if it helps you can pull it slightly taut. I know that's as long as I want that flick, so that's I've finished my marker to there. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to close my eye, put it slightly taut, and then following that line still, I'm just going to join up to my lid here. Like that, and you can see that is now the right shape. I personally like my line quite thick, particularly if we're going to leave the lid light like this with no other shading, then this is how I prefer to do the flick. I prefer to have it quite thick. You're never going to be able to get it in one swoosh, so don't try it. You want to do small little flicks and join them up. If you make a mistake, don't stress, but that is why I would say do it in small little flicks. But if there's something you don't like, you can take either a makeup remover wipe or a cotton bud with a little bit of eye makeup remover on it and just use that to sharpen the point, or if you've made it too long for your liking, you can trim it off that way, like I just did. And so you can tweak it until you get it exactly how you want it. To finish off, if I were keeping my eye like this, I would take that eyeliner, it's not eyeliner, it's concealer crayon again. I'm going to put that in the lower lash line. Like that. And then I haven't concealed yet. If you want to conceal, this would be when I would do it. I always like to conceal my under eye after I've done my eye makeup, because if you have any fallout from shadow or something like that, then it's just easier to rectify. I'm going to use my NARS Creamy Concealer. I'm just going to put a little bit of that there. I'm only doing one eye at the moment because I'm going to show you the other style on the other eye. And then I'm just using my finger to tab that in. I always set my under eye concealer with powder because, again, I'm quite oily around my eyes. Right, the powder that I'm using that you can see is very much loved is my Rimmel Stay Matte. I'm just going to use my makeup sponge that I used earlier to apply my foundation and also the primer, and just tap that lightly under the eye. So the next stage for me, and the final stage on the eyes, if you're going to leave them quite basic like this, which is perfect, is to take your eyelash curlers and then just bend them upwards and then apply your mascara, whatever mascara that you want to use. I'm going to use the Avon Super Extend mascara for this because I like the small thin wand. It's using a back and forth rowing motion. And then do the same, once that's dried for a sec, do the same on the bottom lashes. This Avon Super Extend mascara is really nice for bottom lashes actually, because the brush is so small and thin, you can really get the precision in there. And The final thing will be to go onto the skin, but I'm going to do that once I've finished the other eye and shown you the alternative look, or the slight variation. It's not really alternative, it's just a slight variation on this. We're just going to add a little bit more shadow. I'm going to start exactly the same way as I started just now, by taking my lightest shade and covering my eyelid. A base shadow brush here from Real Techniques, and I'm just going to take that in the middle colour, and this is a transition colour. This is how we're going to move from the light to the dark. So I'm going to take a bit of that onto my brush, always pat it out, and then I'm going to run that in the crease very lightly, and this is going to require some building up, and don't worry about if you go over a bit here, we'll tidy that all up with face wipes in a minute. Now if you want, again, you could leave it at this stage if you just wanted a slight little bit of darkness, but I'm going to continue by adding the really dark colour. To add that, I'm going to use another Real Techniques brush. This is the shading brush. I'm going to take that in the darkest colour here, which is called Sumatra. And then I'm just going to press that in the crease on the end. I don't want to take that dark colour too far in. Just press that in that crease, and then taking the same base shadow brush that I was just using in Sable, this lighter colour, I'm going to blend those together. And if you find you've put that on a bit too heavy, I'm actually happy in this instance, but if you do find that you've put it on a bit too heavy, just go back into that transition colour and just place a bit of that on the brush that you're using to blend the two colours together. And continue to blend like that. And what you want to do is just build it up, so we go back to that, press a little bit more of the dark colour in. You don't have to have these brushes to do this, but it really helps to have a fluffy brush like this one, which is really good for blending colours. And you just want to keep going. Like that. Once you think you've got the dark colour how you want it, I think I'll probably leave it like this. Go back to the light colour, put a bit on that brush that we used to apply that before, and pat that again just all over the eyelid, and it really brightens that area, which increases the look of that cut crease there. I don't know if you can see that. Concealer crayon on the lower waterline, because that really opens up the eye. Now, you could leave that there and then apply your flick. Obviously we're applying a flick again to this side. Or there's one last thing that I would do if I were doing this with a bit more shadow, and that's to take a flat-ended brush like this one. If you can see, it's completely flat at the end. And this is actually a Marilyn Monroe technique. I take that into the darkest colour, and I literally just tap the end into that, just to get the colour on the very tip of that brush, as you can see. And then I take that very close under the lash line. Now you can use a pencil for this. I definitely need a mirror for this. Sorry. Take that very close to that lash line, all the way to your tear duct, like that. But the real tip, and this came from Marilyn, is at this end, instead of finishing it there, or going to the end and finishing it there, what she used to do, she used to just pull it out slightly away from the eye, so that it came a bit like there. And what that replicates looks like the shadow from your upper lashes, and it makes them look a lot more thicker and bolder. It looks odd right now, but once you've got your black flick in, it fits more in place. So let me quickly do the flick on the other side. Once you've got them roughly even, obviously you'd have shadow on this side, then we can move on to finishing the face and doing the lips, which is obviously the other iconic part. I'm very quickly just going to match my eyes up because this looks kind of strange. So bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, now that I'm matching, I've put mascara on this side as well. The next thing that we want to do is just finish the face. Then you want to take your blusher. Now the blusher that I'm going to use, so this is my Bare Minerals blusher in the shade The Tease. And using my Real Techniques blusher brush, I'm just going to dip that in the end of there. And we want quite a lot of blush for this, because they like a bit of blush, but within reason. And then it on my cheek, but also brushing it back. Okay, and now finally we're going to do our lips, and this is my favourite part. The colours that you can go for don't have to be just red. You can, if it complements your dress better, because think about the clothes that you're wearing when you do your lipstick. This eye makeup will go with everything because it's neutral, but the lip colour, if you're wearing a pink dress, you might not want to wear a red lip, but you could go for a fuchsia lip. They would wear fuchsia, coral, red, or an orangey red. I'm going to do red because that's my favourite, but if you particularly want to do a coral colour or a pinky colour, the same principle applies. You just need the relevant lip pencil to suit that lip colour. I'm going to start off by taking my makeup sponge from earlier, and it's got a little bit of foundation on it, and we're just going to cover the lips. Okay, that's important because that removes the natural colour of your lips, so when you apply the colour it will be more true rather than being affected by how pink or red your natural lips are. Anyway, I'm really sorry, I'm losing my voice. I'm going to start with my cherry lip pencil, and I'm going to colour in my whole lip in this lip pencil. Once you've done your first layer of lip pencil, you want to blot, lightly like that, and then just do one more layer, and then blot once more. Then, taking your lip colour, in this case Matte Russian Red from MAC, going to apply that all over the lip. I know this seems like a lot, but this will help your lipstick last a lot longer. And then one final blot. I hope that you found this tutorial interesting and useful. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments below and I will endeavour to answer them as quickly as I can. Otherwise, have a really lovely day, whatever you're doing, and hope this helped. Don't forget to give my video a thumbs up or down, or subscribe or anything like that, and until next time, I'll see you soon.